Okay, hello. We are looking at graphing systems of inequalities in standard form. So we're putting all the couple lessons that we've learned right before this kind of all together into this one. So let's just zoom in, take a look at number one. And so we are going to graph both of these inequalities on the same grid. Remember that it's going to divide the grid up into basically four regions, and then I need to find the one region that works for both of my inequalities. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start off with the top one. I'm going to do that one in green, but before I can do it, I need to get it into a graphable form. So x plus y is greater than or equal to 1. So I'm going to go ahead and minus x from both sides because I need to get that y by itself. So y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 1. Always make sure you stick the x term in first. Okay, so there is my top graph rewritten, and we're ready to go. So that one starts at a positive 1, and then it has a slope of negative 1. So I'm going to go down 1 over 1 from there. Okay, and then I need to ask myself, am I going to connect this with a solid or a dotted line? Hopefully you're saying solid line because it does have that or equal to bar underneath. So make your line nice and long. You want to go across the whole grid. Okay, and then I need to shade in one direction, but I'm not going to shade yet because I still have to do the second inequality, but I am going to look right here, and it says y is greater than, so that means I want to shade above this line. So if you recall, I like to use these reminder arrows. These are not part of the graph. It's just reminding me, hey, I want to be above that green line when I'm all done. Okay, so let's switch colors now to blue, and I will use blue to do this bottom inequality. So x minus 2y is less than 4. So again, I need to get the y by itself, so we'll subtract the x. And now I need to divide everything by a negative 2. What happens when you divide an inequality by a negative? Hopefully you are saying, you must flip the inequality symbol over. Yes, so now it's going to go this way. You got to flip it over because you just divided by a negative. That happens anytime you multiply or divide both sides by a negative. Okay, and then so I just want to point out two things real quick before I move on. So this is the symbol that just flipped, right? And then also, remember how we rewrite something like this? I have a negative over a negative, so it turned it into a positive, and then I'm really just going to write that as a 1/2, and then I put the x over on the side. So that's how I landed here. Okay. All right, so let me get back to blue. All right, let's go ahead and graph this one. This one starts at a negative 2, always starting on the y-axis, negative 2, and then I follow that slope, 1/2. So I'm going to go up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And this time you are going to connect with a dotted line. Okay, and it says y is greater than, so I want to shade above the blue line. All right, so now I come in to do my final answer for the system. And let's see, I want to be above the green line and above the blue line. So the only region that works for that is this one right in here. So this region is above the green and above the blue. So what I could do if I wanted, I could take any point that I've just shaded over, any ordered pair, and you can plug it into both original inequalities and it should work out no problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to number 2. So that's all there. Oh, this one looks different. All right, let's give it a shot. So let's just start off with blue this time. So I'll do the top one in blue. And let's get that one set up. 3x minus 2y is less than or equal to 4. Let's get that y by itself. So what am I doing? I don't know. I need to subtract 3x, silly goose. So now I have a negative 2y less than or equal to, shove that negative 3x up in first, and then a plus 4. Divide everything by negative 2. So again, I'm dividing by a negative. I'll have to flip that symbol over. So flip it over to be a greater than or equal to now. I have a negative 3 over a negative 2. So the negatives cancel, and then I'm left with just a positive 3/2, and then I put the x on the side. 4 divided by negative 2 is now a negative 2. Okay, that one's good to go. So we'll start it at negative 2, and then we're going to go up 3 over 2. Up 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. Up 3 over 2. This is getting connected with a solid line. Oh, yes, I'm getting better. And where would I shade? I'm going to read right here. Y is greater than. So I want to be above this blue line. Okay, and now let's switch to red for this one. Y is greater than 1. So you see that, and you're like, hopefully. Hopefully that pops into your head. You see that it's a y equal, so I'm not going to deal with bucks at all. H means it's going to be a horizontal line at 1. And because I don't have the bar underneath right there, I'm going to be using a dotted line. Okay, so horizontal line at 1, dotted line. Here we go. Okay. And y is greater than, so I want to shade above this line. Okay, so let's go ahead and maybe I'll put my answer in. Let's do it in green today. Why not? So I want to be above the red, above the blue. The only region that works for that is all of this. Above the red and above the blue. There it is. So this green mess is my answer. Awesome. Okay, 3. Ooh. It's almost like I picked these 4 on purpose. Do you notice anything about number 3? Look at these 2, right? You might know something about these right now. I know they look so similar, right? Except for these numbers here. So what do you think that means about these lines? Well, we're about to find out. So I'm going to do the top one in green. 5x minus 3y is less than 6. Okay, minus the 5x. Negative 3y. Stick in that negative 5x. And then a plus 6. Divide by negative 3. Bells are going off in your head, I'm sure, because we just divided by a negative. So that means I got to flip that symbol over. Negative 5 over negative 3 is now going to be a positive 5/3. And then place the x on the side. 6 divided by a negative 3 is now a negative 2. Okay, so this one will start at negative 2. And then we're going to go up 5 over 3. So we're going to land right there. Don't have enough room to do it again. So I'm just going to sketch my dotted line as best I can. Oh, it wasn't bad. And y is greater than, so I would want to shade above this line. Okay, now let's switch to blue and do the bottom. So 5x minus 3y is less than 3. Gotta minus the 5x. So I get negative 3y is less than negative 5x plus 3, and divide everything by negative 3. So again, because I'm dividing by a negative, I've got to flip that symbol over. I get a positive 5/3 again, and then positive 3 divided by negative 3 is a negative 1. Okay, let's graph this one. So this one starts at negative 1, and it also goes up 5/3. This one also has a dotted line. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. Oh gosh, that wasn't so good. Hold on. All right, there we go. So, oh wait, and I want to be above that. Y is greater than. So I want to be above the blue line. So I know this might be a little hard to see, but what I basically have are two parallel lines. I'm just gonna, here's two parallel lines, right? Here's what I really need. Oh, hold on. Hold on. I'm just gonna draw it over here so it's a little bit easier to see. I have a green line and a blue line, they're parallel, and I want to be above both of them. Okay, so where should I shade? Well, you have to, there's only one place that you can shade if you need to be above both lines. It has to be here, right? It has to be, because if you tried to shade in between these two, that's only above the green and not above the blue. So that doesn't make sense there. So that's not what I want. I certainly don't want to shade down here because that's not above anything. So the only place that's going to work for both of these is above the blue and the green. So let me actually switch colors to yellow. I want to be above both of them. So I'm above the green and I'm above the blue. Okay, so my little sketch over here would be up here. Parallel lines, so that's why I kind of pointed it out in the beginning. So hopefully maybe you were thinking, oh, these look like these could be parallel, right? Yes, they are, but you can't just say no solution because you don't know that yet. It is possible that there's no solution, but with inequalities, since we're doing regions and not just where the two lines cross, you can still have answers with parallel lines. So you really do have to graph them out, see where those overlapping sections are. All right, last problem. Here we go. Number 4. Let's see how we do here. Give myself some room. And here we go. We'll do the top in green. X minus 2y is less than negative 2 minus that x. Negative 2y is less than negative x minus 2. And then I need to divide everybody by a negative 2. So that becomes, flip that symbol over because I just divided by a negative. And now I have a positive 1/2 x. And then negative 2 divided by negative 2 leaves me at a positive 1. So start at positive 1, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. These would be connected with a dotted line. Okay, and y is greater than, so I want to shade above. All right, switch to blue for the bottom. Excuse me, x plus 2y is greater than or equal to 6. So let's get that y by itself, subtract that x, stick that negative x in there, plus 6, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Y is going to be greater than or equal to negative 1/2 x, and then 6 divided by 2 is a positive 3. Okay, so I'll start at positive 3, and then I go down 1 over 2. This time I'm connected with a solid line. And y is greater than or equal to, so I want to be above the blue line. Okay, so this time I need above the blue, above the green. So that leaves me here. And that's it. Okay, so please try 5 through 10. Let me know if you have any questions.